Hey y'all, back again in the book of Luke, and tonight we're in chapter 8, and I'd like for us to discuss verses 42 to 48. And this is the story of the woman with the blood. Real quickly though, let's go back to the book of Leviticus, chapter 15, verses 19 through 28 is what gives the specific law and offerings required for a woman who is bleeding, and that's whether it's her time of the month or if it's a medical condition. So a few extra details over in Mark 5, 25 and 26 give a little more background as to what her story is. And brief synopsis, she's been dealing with this issue of blood for 12 years. She has spent her entire earnings going to doctors to find a cure, only to find out that she's not even getting a little bit better, but rather she's getting worse. And here's another thing, her story happens in the middle of another anticipated miracle happening, but the segue is to provide a teaching or a quick lesson to the crowds of people that are following him. So here's the deal. Jesus has crowds of people following him wherever he goes, and presently this crowd is taking up an area that leads up to a local synagogue leader's home because his daughter is dying. Well, she happens to be in the area and she sees that Jesus is going to be passing through, so she fights her way through the crowd to touch the hem of his garment because she knows that if she could just do that without bothering Jesus, then she would be healed. Obviously, she touches his robe. Jesus instantly heals her, and she's sent on her way. Let's talk about the crowd of people and the woman with the blood. The crowd follows Jesus because they're curious, not because they're seeking him. They follow him because they want to watch what he does instead of asking for what he does for others to be done to them. They follow him because they want to be a passing acquaintance to his miracles instead of actually desiring the change that comes from becoming his friend. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm not trying to be vaguely familiar with Jesus. I don't want to follow him from a distance just to hear about him from somebody else because they got a better view. I do not want to pass him by because I'm in a rush, because I got somewhere I got to be, because I've made prior obligations, because the fact of the matter is we all always have something going on. I'm trying to be like the woman with the blood. I'm trying to push people down. I'm stepping all over your kicks. I'm swiping shoulders. I'm mushing faces. I'm trying to fight the crowd to get to God, because can't nobody do me like Jesus. Even more, she was defiled. According to Levitical law, she stayed in a state of uncleanness because the bleeding wouldn't stop long enough for her to start the purification process, much less provide an offering. So for 12 years, she spends looking for a cure. For 12 years, she scrapes by with whatever she has, looking for an answer. For 12 years, she stays in a state of constant and continued sorrow, and that's not to mention whatever the sorrow brings with it. She was unclean, and since she was in a crowd, that meant every person she touched was also unclean. But it is only because of Jesus that he can take the filth and turn it into a fortune. He can take the mess and turn it into a message. It is only him that can make the crooked straight. See, Jesus undoubtedly knew who touched him in the crowd, but he needed her to come forward to show everyone that it's faith in him and him alone that brings healing, not the things that he's attached to. And in this case, it was the hem of his robe. What that means presently and practically is that faith in Jesus is not just about listening to a podcast or sermon about him. It's not just going to church. It's not just being involved with people who already have their salvation sorted out. No, it's about seeking Jesus the way the woman with the blood did. And the Bible doesn't even mention her name. She's only known by her condition, and maybe that's what people have done with you. Maybe they talk about you because of the things that you're attached to, because of what you've done, maybe even how you've treated them. Maybe they only know you because of the way other people have talked about you, but I'm here to tell you that God knows you because he made you. There is nothing you can do to make him love you less. Conversely, there's nothing you can do to make him love you more. Don't let this be a foolish attempt, though, to hide behind his grace, meaning that you cannot continue to live your life the way that you have been just because you know that if you ask for forgiveness, he'll give it to you. That's not love. That's manipulation. And you can't manipulate God because He already knows. You know, our sins don't keep God from knowing us, but it does keep us from knowing Him.